We're here with Representative Steve King, who is here attending the debate tonight. You don't have any other formal role tonight except just attending the debate as a interested spectator, right?
I'm here as a spectator, and it's kind of a good feeling to be on the outside of the ring instead of the inside once, but I'm a political fan as well as a participant.
So give me your sense of what's going on here in Iowa, because this has been a very volatile race here in Iowa. A lot of people up, a lot of people down. Now Newt Gingrich is rising to the top here in Iowa and in actually several other states. How comfortable are you that this race is going to settle in at some point?
Well, I think there's still room for a dramatic shift or two along the way. What I expect will happen tonight is that Newt Gingrich comes in, and you will see a debate here that'll be King of the Hill. He's on the Hill. A lot of them are going to try to pull him off of the hill, because doing so picks up his constituents onto theirs and gives them a chance to climb the hill. Mitt Romney will need to do some of that. He's been the guy that's owned the hill up until the last few weeks. And so if you watch the dynamics, that'll tell you a lot. I think also that Newt Gingrich is going to face white-hot scrutiny over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Media scrutiny, email distribution chain, all kinds of things. He's got a long record. He's been a lot of places, done a lot of things. That makes it makes him vulnerable to this type of criticism that'll come. If he can sustain himself beyond that and sustain momentum beyond that, he's in an excellent position. But right now, it's there'll be more drama result from a potential mistake here than it would be from a particularly stellar debate performance on the part of anyone.
What are you hearing from your constituents about this race? I'm sure that you, I know you, because every time I come down to Iowa, I was just mentioning this to you, every time I come down to Iowa, I see Representative Steve King. So I think I see you more than I see my own congressman, Representative John Klein, and who's a fine congressman. And so I know you're out and you're talking to people. What are you hearing from your constituents out here?
Well, they're kind of all over the place. I hear from them, hear the Romney supporters, and they send their information in, and then along come the Gingrich supporters, and it's all threaded through and blended in with each other. And you'll hear that from campaign after campaign, Santorum campaign, the Bachmann campaign to some degree. It just keeps flowing like that. But the public is. They have not made up their mind. You saw the Des Moines Register poll here a week or so ago. I think it came out last Sunday. And it was 60% would change, or they're prepared to change. Only 11% undecided. So I expected there'd be 60% that could switch, but I thought the undecideds would be greater than 11. And I think that number actually is a little bigger than that. So they're still up in the air. People are still making up their minds, and we have not seen a campaign in Iowa that matches up to that Mitt Romney ran here in Iowa 4 years ago, when he had a well-funded campaign, well-organized grassroots, counties on out, and a strong media campaign. I mean, he's just really launched his full-throated campaign in Iowa today, I believe.
Right.
And Newt Gingrich, same. The two guys at the top have just launched their campaigns, and in a big way. Rick Perry has run a lot of media here in the state now, trying to do what he can do there. So this is different than 4 years ago. It's different than any time I remember, and I do think these debates have a lot of impact on the result. It does offset some of that lack of presence that goes on that Rick Santorum has, being in all 99 counties.
This is a good question, because one of the things that you hear about is that organization really is what it's all about here in Iowa, and that's been true. But do you think that that's changing? I mean, Newt Gingrich here, he seems to be rising in the polls and really just opened up, like you said, just really started opening up his campaigns, just starting to staff up now. Do the debates and does Facebook and Twitter, does that trump all the organization that you normally would see in Iowa?
Ed, I don't think it trumps it at all. I think the organization out there, well, right now I'll predict that Rick Santorum will do, he will do better than the polls suggest that he will, because he's got the organization. The question is, will they have enough energy to actually come out in all those counties and put up their vote for Rick? We had proportionate with the effort that he's put in and the time that he has to put that system together. On the other hand, though, I do think that all of these debates and the cable TV and the access to the debates, plus the way the information is sorted and people can go on and look at little YouTube clips and the Facebook comments that are going on, we're a lot more of a social networking state and a country than we were 4 years ago.
Right.
And I don't think that we yet know the impact of all the social networking that'll be part of this. I think that if I were going to advise somebody on how to do this today, I would say do the Rick Santorum Go Everywhere all the time, do the media campaign, encourage all the people everywhere to get on Facebook and send their messages out and use all the electronics that you can. So I'd say a high-profile media campaign with a good grassroots campaign, with a good social networking campaign to tie that all together, and then perform well in the debates. That would be the ideal candidate, and of course nobody's been able to accomplish that at this point.
Right. So I guess the $64 question to you is, have you made up your mind?
I have not.
But we were talking about this in Ames. This is almost 4 months ago that you and I were talking about this, and that you just hadn't been convinced yet. So 4 months later, still nobody's made the sale with Representative King.
And I have all my life I've made decisions and made some big decisions along the way. They come to me in the form of a conviction. When I get to that place, I know, inside I know, and I'm ready to advocate for the decision and defend the decision that I make. And that just hasn't come together yet at this point. But I would put this challenge out to the candidates. I think they need to send this message out to the American people that I want to hear from the candidates. Do you really understand what kind of a financial predicament this country is in? That we are hurtling at breakneck speed off the cliff, and that a Greek default, the best thing that could come from that would be it would shock the United States into maybe turning back away from that cliff. But I've yet to hear a presidential candidate articulate the scope of that problem, what they'll do about it, set a date by which they would balance this budget and start to pay off the national debt and get our financial house in order. And I'm still waiting to hear what they think about the destiny of America. What kind of a country are we in a decade or a generation? Ronald Reagan painted the picture very well for us, and I don't know that anybody has painted it well since then. We can only ride so long on the image that Ronald Reagan painted for us.
So 3 weeks out, not too much time left to make that sale.
No, and I hope I do come to that conviction, and sooner is far better than later, Ed.
Okay. Representative King, thank you so much for talking with me today.
It's good to be back with you again. Thank you, Ed.